Hello and welcome to Retrotainment. Back here with my co-host, capital C, capital O, Greg. How are you doing, buddy?
What's the story, homie?
Nothing much, nothing much. We continuing on with our Halloween October films here.
It's getting close to that time of the year now, isn't it?
Getting closer and closer now, yeah.
All them sweets are coming to my house. All those sweets.
Got to get those Banshee bones back in, lads.
I did. I only bought a pack of 12 there in Aldi or Lidl.
Yeah, one of those
for €3.
Have them here as well. Yeah, you need to get those bad boys in while they're hot.
Absolutely quality. I do like the fact that they brought them back permanently, but I think you were right when we said in the group chat there that you should have them maybe limited at times.
Just bring them out at Halloween. That's like the only time you need them.
Like the snowballs you see at Easter and the snowballs at Christmas and the chocolate marshmallows. It
was like cream eggs. Cream eggs used to only come out at Easter. Now they're around year long. Just put them back to Easter. They're like a little treat.
Yeah.
But obviously we continue on here with Beetlejuice, a horror comedy.
Don't say it again.
No, we can say it one more time, but that'd be it. Yeah,
that'd be too close though.
Yeah, it's getting close there. You could make a mistake.
Released.
Oh, okay. Now we have one left. Released on the 19th of August, 1988.
Wedding anniversary. A few years prior.
a few years early though, yeah.
It's a strange time actually to release it.
Yeah, you're still in the summer blockbuster sort of era.
88.
Now that's what date it was released over here.
States.
No, over here. So you're probably talking fucking
start of summer probably.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, you would have expected a big old blockbuster.
Yeah, you would, but you think like you're releasing a horror comedy, you're like, I'll release this a little later in the year sort of thing.
Again, though, then we look at it, it's hard to know off the top of my head what big horror movies came out that year.
Yeah, true, but you're still thinking
sometime near there, September maybe, or
yeah, like either do it a little bit before or a little bit after maybe, but either way, we also take a quick look at the rating. So 85% from 59 critics on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
it's amazing how loved this movie is.
Yeah, and then
this is a movie you'd look at. Critics are going to mark down for every little thing, but they don't.
Yeah, and then 82% from the audience. So
I did not expect a higher critic score.
No, definitely not. But like, I think both of those are pretty fair in terms of like you wouldn't be going much higher really than that.
If you had said to me out of 100, what would you give it? I probably would have said about an 85.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like you're not really going much higher than that sort of thing. Because it's not incredible or anything. It's good, but it's not like, oh, you have to see it either.
It's acquired that cult status, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely up there as one of those cult films. Sorry. Yeah. Decent box office as well, 84.6 million when you're talking back in the late 80s. Yeah, it's good going.
Solid, especially in the summer.
Well, the end of summer coming in, yeah.
Well, for us, that box office.
Yeah, like, over in the States, yeah, it's probably. It starts off in a kind of weird fashion, though, doesn't it? Like I
love the start into this movie.
No, it's very good, but it's kind of a weird start, isn't it? It's just like this couple in their house, and you're like, "What the hell am I watching here?" Like,
I love the actual opening scene to it where it's going through the town.
Yeah, it is.
And then it turns out to be an actual model.
Yeah, the model's class. To be fair,
yeah, so good.
He's put some serious work into that bad boy.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, may as well not even have a Baldwin.
Jesus Christ.
The old Simpsons classic. Yeah, but it's a weird start, like, because it's just them in their house, and then this weird, like, nosy neighbor keeps calling over.
She's not even a neighbor, is she? She's the real estate agent. She's trying to sell their house.
I'm not really sure. She kind of like they're not trying to sell the house. She keeps calling over and being like, "You should sell your house." I was like, "Go away, please."
I'd say she probably lives in the town and knows someone that wants to buy it and knows she'd get a few pounds out of it.
Yeah, well, she sent pictures to people out of state and everything.
Yeah,
you're like, seriously, you need to settle down. Like, this is their house, but it's a house for a family, and you're just like, whoa,
you biatch.
Yeah, and it like you kind of get the impression that they've been struggling to conceive. Like
that line there tells you that they've.
Well, when they're in the car, they're kind of like they kind of say like,
No, but that's the line that fills your head going, well, they're obviously either the way the movie's going to be built, like obviously the build up to it, you think have they had a miscarriage or lost a baby, and that's what they're using.
Yeah, but
And then obviously that line, but it's just nothing to do with it. It's just done after that.
yeah, that's it. They just don't really mention it again. The car, like the going down through the town, and your man goes to the shop,
Yeah, and your man sitting at the barbers.
the barber, and he says he coming in for a haircut now, and your man just keeps talking. He goes into the shop. There's nobody in the shop.
Joe, that reminds me of the barbershop in Coming to America.
Yeah, the shop reminds me of it, and obviously it's prior to it, but of Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I owe you a few pence there. But like he goes in, there's nobody there. So he just puts the money into the till for them. I was like, what's the story?
It's his shop.
Yeah, but if it's his shop, why is he putting money in the till? It's his stuff.
Gotta balance the books, I'd say.
Yeah,
you can't call him the chef. He can't cook the books.
Yeah, but like you can just do that later, just go in and take it. What are you doing?
Well, he's an honest man.
Well, the only person he's robbing is himself, so it's not that big a deal,
Well, yeah, it's his shop as far as I know.
I don't know. They don't really go.
Yeah, no, it must do
much.
because he has the key to open the door.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I suppose. But
and they're on holidays.
They're on their vacation, which they're doing up the house.
Yeah, she says. He says, "I've got to go down to the store."
Yeah, he doesn't say it's his though. See, you could be right. It could be his, but I've never
or
really
either that or he works there. One or the other, because he has a key to get in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But they leave, and then that's when they have the crash off the bridge.
So it's so funnily well done.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my god!" And then there's just a dog standing on the plank, and you're like, "Pooch,
don't step off there." And the dog's just like, "Right, I'm off, lads.
See you later."
Now the thing here is, right, it's not that far a drop.
No.
And
they go nose down.
You're kind of thinking, would you not just get out of that car, like,
Well, they could be trapped in the car, could be anything. But as we say, like it doesn't really show you anything.
No, they just show up back home, and you're like, oh, they're home.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're soaking wet.
Yeah, and I do like that because they get back, they're just soaking wet, and you're like, oh, they survived.
Well, yeah, because on the way down, you see it's not that far to the bridge.
Exactly. Yes. They survived. The car's down in the river,
in the ditch.
Yeah. But then they go into the house, and it's just her fingers go on fire with the candle. That's a great scene. Like
some of the camera work in this is just phenomenal for the time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like this is Tim Burton magic in this movie.
Yeah, and they eventually realize they're dead when they look in the mirror, and they're not there, and she has the little horse.
So good.
But and then they see the little book on the side of the desk.
The guy.
What is it? A book for a recently deceased.
Yeah.
And they can't read it. They're like, what the fuck's going on in this book?
And he goes to walk outside.
Oh yeah, they're trapped in the house.
I'm gonna go retrace my steps.
Straight down into this sandy pit, which they don't really go into.
Yeah, it's just left there, isn't it?
They're just like, there's a big sandy pit and there's a big snake in it.
Yeah, the sand snake or the sand dune snake or whatever they called it.
That's just there. You can't leave your house.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're stuck there now.
Yeah, but they eventually get a new family moved in with a young girl, Lydia and Ed Rooney. I believe it's Ed Rooney.
It is Ed Rooney.
No, but it's actually him. They've moved him up there because he's after having a bad old time in the old school.
2 years after Ed Rooney goes mental in Ferris Bueller, and he arrives there. 100% Ed Rooney.
And he says, all I want to do is relax. Yeah. All I want, I just want to be able to cook coupons. Ed, telling you, that's just him. That's what happened here. But he moves up with
sorry, Carl, that's the new fan theory.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. He moved up and he married this horrible person again, who cares massively about her horrible sculptures.
Oh, it's desperate in there. It's desperate.
And then you have your man, Otto. Yeah, coming in and I think we should do this and this at the house. And Ed's just like, just leave this room alone.
Knock this wall down. And
yeah, that's all fine, but just leave this room alone.
Yeah, I love how he's just going around with spray paint. He's like, gonna paint this wall this color,
Yeah,
knock this down.
it's so good. And then he builds like stuff on the top of the roof and everything. It's just like,
Yeah,
what is this lad doing?
so strange. Like,
but they go up into the attic, and the door just gets slammed in their face.
yeah, you
now
can hear the ghost barreling up the stairs.
yeah. What I liked is like prior to this, they're trying to scare them out of the house, and just no one can see them. So they have like the head cut off, and she's standing there with their thing, and people just walk past them, and they're like, "Yeah."
Oh, they're hanging in the wardrobe.
The hanging in the wardrobe is very good.
Well, look at the state of this dress.
Yeah, I love that part because you know she reacts as if she has seen it.
Yeah, and it just turns out to be her.
But it doesn't just turn out straight away, because when he brushes everything aside in the thing, you see her body swing across.
Yeah, they move. Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, it's just a horrible dress and stuff. You're like, oh, okay.
It's good though. It's like everything's left in this first opening. Well, probably half an hour now.
Yeah,
everything's kind of perfectly tied up.
Yeah,
they can't be seen.
And they've tied them, like they've locked themselves into the
attic. Yeah,
into the attic, so that nobody can get in and stuff.
And then when she goes up with the key to try and get in, he pokes it back out.
Yeah, that is good. But then that realtor or whatever, Jane, comes along, and she gives the key to Lydia, and you're like, would you not have gotten out of the car and walked up to one of the parents? Why are you giving her the key?
Yeah, Lydia is very strange in this. She's like the exact same character as Edward Scissorhands, just a little bit darker.
It's strange because they've obviously, like, this was an old horror trope, you know, you had the weird kid.
Yeah.
And like that, they just stuck with that.
Ghosts, yeah.
Yeah, and she can see the ghosts up in the
attic.
In the attic. And then when they question her about it later, she's just like, well, this book. So she's now read the book. I don't know where she read it from.
She gets it when she gets into the attic.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, well, it says people can't see things that are weird and unusual, but I'm weird and unusual. And you're like, man, this is such an old horror trope. Like, it's one I'm kind of glad they've gone away from a bit now. Do you know, like the weird person can see everything. It's kind of like, oh, lads.
You have to believe to see, and she doesn't shut anything down.
Yeah, exactly.
They used it. They used it they went to that well far too often.
Yeah,
in horror. Yeah,
she's a lot older in this now than I thought she was.
In terms of her actual age.
Yeah, she's like 17 or 18 in this.
I would have thought she was about that.
I think she looks way younger. Like, she's like a child in this.
She looks young anyway, though. Yeah. Even now.
Like, no, she does, but like
when you see her in Stranger Things.
Yeah. No, but I just, to me, I was like, I thought she must have been younger than that. But then I was like, sure, it didn't come out that late came out late in the 80s. So I was like, she must have been, in like her late teens at least.
I'd say she's pushing 50 now.
Yeah, must be something like that. But when she gets that skeleton key, she goes up to try to get into the attic, and they create the door in the on the wall, which I love because he draws the door and nothing happens, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I need to put the door handle on."
And it's still not working.
And then he eventually gets the door open, and they go into this admin thing. It's so good.
Take a ticket.
Yeah, they take the ticket, but like, you see that the mysterious green light, and Lydia sees that flooding the room as well. So she's just like, there's something up there.
I love that though. Like, she's at the bottom of the stairs, but the green light's supposed to take over the whole, engulf the whole room.
Yeah,
and like it obviously lights up downstairs and all.
Yeah, it's very, very well done.
But, Tim Burton's a genius in terms of his cinematography and the way he does things.
Certain things he does. I think certain films of his are very good. Other ones I don't think are great. But like his actual cinematography is brilliant. Like, he knows where to put things to make them work well. Usually,
he's like, there's a few directors in Hollywood that do that. Tarantino is another one.
Yeah, I think early Tim Burton tends to be quite good. I think some of his later stuff is really let him down. Oh,
some of it's desperate, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's fucking dire.
Yeah, but they get the complaints worker, and they mention to her that we found this leaflet about we contact this guy, but we don't know how to do it. And she's like,
we've seen the ad, wouldn't it?
they've seen the ad like come out with a book, and then they've seen a little ad on the telly and stuff. And
Yeah.
your one is just like, do not contact him. He used to work for me, and that guy is crazy. We had to let him
He's
go.
freelance. Yeah.
Yeah, do not like contact him. And they're like, well, how do we? And she was like, well, you would say his name 3 times, but I would advise against it. And they kind of take her advice. They're like, okay.
Yeah, heed the lady's advice.
Yeah, when you're given information like that, you just
I love how they
stick to
have
it.
the American football team come in as well that were killed in the bus crash.
That's the second time they have to go visit her, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
No,
It's
is it not the first time?
No, that's when they have to when they get called back for after the possession at the dinner party,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
But they
I
get
gotta go
back.
to the bathroom, coach.
They get back and they make friends with Lydia. Lydia comes up and they're like, "Oh, you can see us." After she tries to take the picture of them on the when they've got the sheets over their head and stuff.
Those they go in to see Ed himself.
Yeah, and he's
And
paying
he's
no
like,
attention.
those are $300 sheets.
He thinks it's Lydia, yeah, because only one of them goes in.
Yeah,
Then they go into the mother, and she's
she's comatose.
what does Lydia says what she's taking?
Uh,
Vicodin, was it?
Percocet, was it?
I don't know. She says she's
Some
taking
kind
some.
of high threshold painkiller.
Yeah, she's like she's out for the count. Like you're not
Yeah.
waking her up. But like they make friends with her, and everything seems to kind of be going all right. And they're like, you need to convince your parents to leave.
This is their house.
This is our house. We don't want them here. So Lydia goes down and she gives it the old try, and the parents are like, yeah, all right, but we have a big dinner tonight with some
Fuck
fancy
off.
people. So if you could just not mention that again, that would be great.
That'd be swell.
So they have their big they're about to have their big dinner, and they decide, listen, we need to call on him. So they say his name and they get dragged down into the model.
We've missed the oh yeah, sorry, yeah. They get
Yeah.
pulled in, yeah. I was gonna say we missed a bit where you get pulled into the model.
Yeah, they get dragged down into the model and they're kind of talking to him, and he's
in the graveyard.
Yeah, they have to dig him up, which I think is great because they like dig, and it's you can see the felt and the paper and the all of it just being dug up.
I bet you Alec Baldwin is thinking, I wish I hadn't put that much effort into it.
Yeah, if I just made this easier, this would be a lot. Like I'd just get him out, no bother. But I do like that they dig him up, and then you can just see how creepy he is.
It's so good. It's there. It's that scene behind you is the first time you see him.
Yeah, and he's so good at being creepy. Like I forgot how good he was as this demented kind of creepy role. Like not demented as in like
he's just psychotic.
Yeah, like he's just like he doesn't know what he's gonna do next. Like he's just completely insane.
Apparently, like I was reading a couple of things today, I'd say, but and there were a lot of his stuff, like all the facial expressions and all weren't there. Most of the lines were ad-libbed in by Jesus, him.
Really?
Like, it's showtime.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the script.
Yeah. Like when you think of Michael Keaton, like, and it's not that you think of him as, like you think of him, you're like, he's a good actor. You think like this lad is a serious actor.
Michael Keaton is an amazing actor.
Yeah. Like you think of him and you're like, yeah, serious actor. But I would never have thought that, oh yeah, he'd be good for this crazy,
demented ghost poltergeist thing.
Yeah, I'd never have thought of him in that role, and he just does it so well. Like,
yeah, like I can understand. Like kids nowadays, not even kids, like teenagers nowadays watching this wouldn't have the appreciation that the likes of us had for this movie.
See, a lot of stuff from this has been done since, like it's all replicated loads, like.
Yeah, but a lot of it you wouldn't see it because it'd be all CGI'd in and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just the way he acts and everything, and he does it so well that like
he's so sleazy as well.
And that's the thing. Barbara is just like, this lad is just like, even when he's getting like the branch and trying to lift up her dress, you're like, Jesus Christ, dude.
So funny. I do forget about that.
You're just like, Jesus, dude.
And then you see him like he's sitting there, he's talking, he spits into his jacket, saving that for later.
That's that bit. It's just, but she says like, we're not making a deal with this lad. This lad is weird. Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And I like that, the way to get out is just say home 3 times. Home, home, home.
Yeah. And then he goes into he has the little brothel, doesn't he?
No, that's a bit later.
Oh no, again. Yeah, that's when Lydia goes.
This time he's just sitting there like bad mouthing them at his
You'll be back.
gravestone. Yeah, you'll be back. But they go down and they possess the family at the dinner table, and this scene is great. Like the singing and
The day I was saying.
yeah, and like even the like squid coming up out of the soup and dragging them all face first and stuff. It is so good.
I think this, if you talk to someone about Beetlejuice, this is the scene that probably 98% of the people will go to.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most iconic sort of scenes. It's so good, like, and the song works so well.
The dancing scene.
Yeah, and the song just works so well, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, it's quality. Like they're having it's a serious dinner, and then the topic of poltergeist comes up because the boss that came up's wife is very interested in it.
Yeah, but
she's like, oh, Lydia has 2 ghosts up in the attic.
Yeah, and then when they get possessed, like, Adam and Barbara upstairs, and they're like, "Grand, that's gonna get rid of them." But they're just like,
"Let's look at them, leggy."
Yeah, and then they're like, "Where are they?" And they're like, "This is great. Like, we could, we could get people up here. We could, we could make loads of money off this." And they send Lydia up, and Lydia's just like, they said they don't want to come down.
Yeah, they're not coming down.
Which, why would you? Like, you're trying to get them out of the house. So
it was quality though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's so good. But this is when Beetlejuice makes his first appearance in the real world. I don't really know how he manages to get out. But he does, and he throws the dad down like the stairs.
Oh, Barbara does it. Barbara calls him out.
She does, yeah.
Barbara calls him out, and then he comes up and he like takes over the rail as the snake. Yeah,
and like the snake scene is great.
This is where you get the infamous "it's showtime."
Yeah, and he's throwing people off the stairs. Like, you can see what they meant about there's something like, don't call on this guy. There's something wrong with him.
He'll kill people. Yeah,
that's all he was trying to do. Like, he was ready to kill all of them.
Well, that's what poltergeists do, really, in terms of movies.
Yeah, they do. But you're just like, okay, we were warned not to get this lad out, and
we done fucked up.
we did. So good luck to that. But they managed to get him back into his little toy town.
He becomes very fascinated with Lydia
straight away. Like this,
yeah. You're like, oh, you're definitely a pervert.
Yeah, but Lydia is now terrified of them as well because she thinks that they've sent him out.
Well, they did.
Not really. Like they. I don't like. She thinks that they knew what was going to happen.
Oh yeah,
this
lad.
Like, she's like, whoa, these guys.
Technically, they did send them out.
See, they kind of do, and they kind of like, because they went to strike a deal, and then she calls him to call him back. I don't think Barbara calls him out. She calls him back.
No,
by saying his name 3 times.
Yeah, no, but she calls him out the first time as well.
I don't think she does. I think. I don't think she. I think that he just manages to get out because they started the deal with him.
No, I'm almost 100% sure she calls him out, and then she calls him back.
Maybe, yeah.
Because when she calls him back the first time, he throws the zip at
her. No, that's later on. Yeah, I think he just manages to escape here somehow. I don't think he actually does get called out, but they get called back into the caseworker, and she's like,
is she not happy?
She is like, you lads need to get a grip here because we can't have people believing that, ghosts exist. Like, we can't have that. So you need to either scare them out of that house, and you need to get your book back because Otto's after going and stealing the book.
Otto's a gimp.
Yeah, he really is. But this is when you get the football team behind her, and they're like, I think you survived, coach. And she's like, for the last time, I am not your coach. He survived. I need to go to the toilet. Oh, for God's sake.
It's quality. This is 2 of their 3 visits that they have.
Yeah, and then she's like, she manages to get him back into she gets Beetlejuice to stay in the little town thing because she puts in the brothel, and he's like, oh, and I love Barbara's like, why did you put that there? And Adam's like, I didn't build that.
I love where he's walking along, and like she picks him up when he's tiny, he pops out with the little spikes, and it's stuck in the mat. He gets up and he's like,
it's so
"Oh,
good.
hey, this is my kind of town."
This is my kind of town.
The way he walks to the brothel's there, he's like bouncing from side to
Yeah,
side.
he's so good.
Yeah.
But they have to show the caseworker how they're going to scare them out of the house, and they do this well, like, you know, the stretched out faces, and your man Adam has the 10 eyeballs on his hands.
It's like this here is it's paper mache.
Oh yeah, it's easy it doesn't look great, but like
at the time I'd say this looks
no, it looks great at the time, but like you look back at it now and you're like, yeah, it doesn't look great. What I do love is that when Barbara changes her face, he takes his glasses and puts them in front of two of the eyeballs. I thought I was like, that is genius.
To see
like,
it, yeah.
Wait, what's she doing?
So look at that. There's some little touches that he puts into this movie, and it's just like brilliant.
Yeah.
Like that, for instance, there.
Yeah.
And then like when he gets stuck and he can't get it to go back.
Punk. But it's good when they're on their way back. Lydia has gone up the stairs, and you know, Beetlejuice kind of contacts her, and he's like, "Oh, if you want them to come back, you're gonna have to say my name 3 times." But
what is your name? Oh, I can't tell you.
And he's like, "Look behind you, Beetle."
Beetle.
Orange juice? Breakfast?
Juice.
So it takes her so long to get it as well, and you're just like, okay.
So
could have just written it down.
Your name is Beetlejuice? That's twice. Are you gonna say it once more?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that's when the two of them get back back through the door in the wall.
She just about stops her.
Yeah, she just about stops her, but she gets terrified because they come back with the
faces.
The faces, like Barbara has the eyes in her mouth, and then he has the eyes on his hands, and his head is a big mouth. And
I love this because she turns away, and she changes back to normal.
Yeah,
but he can't.
Yeah, but she's just like, no, we want to stay, and like we want you to stay here. And this kind of throws back to the that they didn't have a kid. They kind of adopted her as their child, sort of.
She's the weird kid whose parents don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, her dad might, but he's too stressed to.
Yeah, he seems more concerned about buying out the town and stuff like that.
Yeah, good old Ed Rooney, yeah.
Yeah, Ed Rooney. Oh, never looks out for the kids, that lad. But they convince, like, they're kind of like, right, we'll stay with her, and that'll be it. We just need to convince them to give us back the book and to forget about trying to expose us.
Yeah. No chance getting that book back off, Otto.
No, but this is when they have the boss up, and they bring the little model downstairs to show him
the town. Yeah,
the town. Like, this is where the town is, and like we could do this, and this. And then he's like, they have the dinner, and they're like, and how would you get? Can you summon these ghosts or anything? And Lydia's like,
he's still fascinated.
Lydia's just like, they won't come down. They won't. And Otto gets the wedding stuff.
Yeah, he's like, I can get them down.
Yeah.
So he goes from being an interior decorator to a paranormal expert.
Yeah. He's a weird guy.
I mean, each to their own, I suppose.
He does summon Barbara, and Barbara goes from, like, she starts aging quite rapidly.
Yeah.
So by the time
she's dead, basically.
Yeah, but by the time he summons Adam, Barbara is like falling apart already.
And the skeleton in this is brilliant looking.
Yeah, it looks so good.
The aging process in this is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's instant, which is what I like. They don't really like. They're there about 4 seconds before they start aging, and aging quickly. And they're like, "Can you stop them aging? Like, what are you going to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah, you're killing them.
Yeah, so
she killed them. They're already dead.
Yeah, but I think if they die here, then they'll go to that, like, purgatory.
They'll be in the Sand Snake Land.
No, the purgatory is that, like, do you remember they open the curtain window and it's like all the screaming heads and stuff?
Oh no, I know, but like
I think that's where they would have ended up all right. But
possibly, yeah.
Lydia then strikes the deal because Beetlejuice is like, I can save them, but you have to say my name 3 times, and you have to marry me.
Deal.
And she's just like, yeah, I'll do whatever to save them. And that they'd have been like, yeah, don't do that. That guy's weird. Like, super weird. But she does call him out. And I love this because he comes out and he has, like, it's real cartoony and like zany. And like, he's a theme park, and he's like got the big hat on and everything, and all the theme park stuff coming up and around him.
He's so good. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, and then he steps out and he uses the two mallets and knocks the boss and the wife up through the
yeah,
ceiling.
from the chairs. Yeah,
Yeah, and then Otto tries to escape and
he gets caught,
he gets caught as well.
and
But
then the sculptures come to life here.
yeah, well, he's like, right, we need to have a ceremony, so he
Love
gets the
this.
sculptures.
He just pulls the fireplace open. A little alien comes out.
Yeah, it's so good, and he's like, we need witnesses, so he straps the mom and the dad down, and he's like, right, let's go. So, and now he does hold up his part of the deal in the terms that Barbara and Adam go back to being quite youthful here.
It starts to go back. Yeah.
So he does hold up his part of the deal.
He has an air of Rumpelstiltskin about him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but it's so
Sneaky
good because
bastard.
this is where they're like they're trying to stop the ceremony as it's starting.
I love his red suit here.
Yeah, but like the jaw falling off, and then he has to like reconnect it, and he's like, no, and all this stuff, and then he gets thrown into the little mini model.
What is it? Beetlejuice. He throws the zipper.
Yeah. Then yeah, she tries to talk, and it's Beetlejuice. He throws the zipper, and she like just unzips her mouth. Beetlejuice, and then
the steel plate.
The steel plate over, and she's like trying to take that off, and the whole time they're just trying to stop this wedding from going ahead.
What isn't it? Adam's jaw's bouncing around the floor, and he's like dancing around his teeth. He's like,
yeah, and then he sends Adam down into the little mini model town. But I love that as the priest, for want of a better word, is like, and do you Beetlejuice? Blah, 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 blah. We don't say the B word.
Yeah. Do you take this girl?
Yeah. And then she says no, and your man just kind of looks at him and he goes, oh, don't worry about her, covers her mouth and throws his voice. And he's like, oh, of course I take him. I love him so much.
My name is Lydia Dietz. Yeah.
So good. But then Adam gets out in his little car, runs into his foot.
He drives straight off the model. Brilliant.
So good. Straight into his foot. It's so funny. Like
it's so wacky, and the only way to describe it is a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, and then I don't know how she manages to do it, but she gets control of the sand snake thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like you don't see it. She steps out into the sand snaky world, and then she comes back, and that's the end of Beetlejuice because the sand snake eats him.
Yeah, I wonder where that goes.
Don't know. Like,
I'd like to know.
They don't really explain what that world is.
Yeah, it's the world that's, I don't know.
Like you can't leave your house or you end up in that, but they don't really explain what it is. It's kind of just left there for that.
Do you think it was said that it was going to be a second one?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they were kind of leaving it there, like we can use this later on if we need to.
If this bombs, we don't bother. If it goes well, we will, and then
we have something there to use. Yeah, I think that I think
I'm
a lot of those older films.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone back to it yet.
No, I think a lot of these older films did think like that. They're like, we'll release this and we'll leave something there with enough to give us a second film if it goes well.
No, but I'm surprised they haven't gone back. I'm surprised Tim Burton hasn't gone back.
Yeah.
Now Keaton has already come out publicly and said he'd do it.
Oh, has he?
Oh yeah, he said for years he'd go back and do it.
Yeah, I see.
This is his favorite character.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know how well it would go down now. As we said at the start,
there's no chance. Like even for the likes of us when we do recast, this movie wouldn't get made now.
See, I think it would. I just don't know how good it would be now.
Because I don't think so. His sense of humor now would offend too many people.
I don't think that'd matter. I think you'd still be able to do it, but I think what happens in this film is kind of it's that kind of comedy horror, but it's like 80s style comedy. I don't know if it would translate today. You'd have to change it a lot. So if they decided to make another one, I'd be interested.
I'd probably watch it only if it was Tim Burton and Michael Keaton again.
No, it has to be. Yeah, it has to be them originally.
If they went to go and be like, "Oh, it's a Beetlejuice prequel," no thanks.
No, I only want to see it if it's him. Like, I wouldn't mind if they're like, it's a prequel, but it's still him. Like, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that wouldn't bother me.
But it does. Yeah, it needs to be Keaton. But yeah, that's the end of Beetlejuice, and it looks like everything's kind of going well. They're living happy family. The ghosts are now back downstairs and stuff,
They're just roaming, yeah.
just roaming around, and then we get to see what happened to Beetlejuice. And I love that. This is a great ending scene where he gets there, and obviously, like, he's in the waiting room, and he's got his
which
ticket.
means he is now dead himself.
Yeah, he's now dead himself, but he's in the waiting room, and he has a ticket that's like
9,900,000
or something. And he looks at your man next to him, and he's like,
serving number 5.
It's serving number 4, and he sees your man's number 5. He's like,
Hey, look, is that Elvis?
Is that Elvis? And then he switches tickets with him. I'll be next anyway. And then he looks at the other guy next to him, and he goes, "Do you do that to him?" And it's the guy with the little shrunken head.
And you just see him gone.
Yeah. He's like, "Great, I'll shrink his head." Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, actually, this might be a good look for me.
And he goes and starts talking to you one.
So it's just so good. And then it just kind of ends there. So they do leave themselves open where, like,
well, it doesn't. It goes to Lydia studying for the test and all, and then
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, they have the big happy, very Matilda-esque, singing and dancing and floating around.
Well, I wonder. No, Matilda probably came after this. So
Matilda's definitely around, yeah. Matilda came after this, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's
Oh yeah.
It's the real happy-go-lucky. Oh, now we can do magic, and yeah, it's just real happy-go-lucky. It's a real happy ending to this film,
and it's why you get the infamous shake scenario one.
Yeah, and it's not like this is a particularly, like, it's not a scary film. No. You know, it's more just like
wacky.
It's wacky, and you're like, that guy is weird. Like
Finn's still probably a little too young for me to watch.
I think this is still, like, this is one that you still do need to be that little bit older to see.
No, I could probably watch it with Ellen there, but I wouldn't be able to watch it with Finn yet.
No, and I think I think Keaton in this is creepy looking enough that he would creep people out that are quite young.
Yeah.
But once you're a little bit older, you're just like,
you can see it behind you. Like, he obviously has scabies and stuff on his neck.
Yeah.
The black eyes and things. He's a full-on poltergeist looking.
Yeah, and, like, you know, he turns into this big snake thing that, like, throws people over stairs. Like, there's enough in it that if you weren't, if you were a young kid, it would scare you.
That's a great little homage to Freddy's original Friday the 13th. Sorry, not the original Friday the 13th. Part 3, he turns into the snake. Yeah,
but, like, this is where, you know, it's not particularly, like, it's not a scary film, but at the same time, he's creepy enough in it that you wouldn't want to be shown it to a kid because it could creep a kid out.
Well, like I've said before on a few episodes, like, when you have a movie like this, the surrounding cast didn't matter who they were, because Keaton absolutely stole the show.
Oh yeah, it was all about him. Like, you could have put anyone else in any of those roles, and this would have still been as good as it was.
Apart from maybe Otto, because
the smarmy kind of guy. Yeah, you'd need someone to be kind of smarmy, but, like, really, even with that, like, if you recast him to somebody else, it's still.
Actually, you probably could, but Michael Keaton was perfect.
Yeah, that's me. Like, Keaton steals the show in this 100%. Like, it's all about him. Like.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, ideally, for the type of performance it was, he could have, or you wouldn't say he'd win an Oscar in '88, because of the movies that came out. Yeah,
even I don't know if it's an Oscar-winning performance, because it's more like, I know it's very good.
It's a MTV Movie Awards VMA kind of win.
Yeah, this is something where you're like the best, you know, creepy actor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he would, like, theoretically, he's not even the main character in this. He's the
antagonist.
No, yeah, but, like, if he was to win an Oscar for this, he would probably get, theoretically, you'd say he'd get Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, I think there's probably an argument that he's the lead actor because it's named after him as well. But yeah, it could go either way, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like, in terms of, you know, comedy horrors.
Perfection.
It's a very different comedy horror. Like, we've covered Shaun of the Dead before. It's a very different comedy horror. This more leans into the horror side of it as well.
It's the darker, wacky side of horror, yeah.
Whereas, like, the comedy is comedic, but it's like, this is funny because it's so weird. Whereas Shaun of the Dead is more funny, and then it's like, oh, it's really funny, but there just happens to kind of be zombies around as well.
The problem I found, like as successful as this was, Tim Burton leaned on that design of movie far too much then.
Yeah, he probably did, but
Like you can see the very striking similarities between this kind of comedy and the character he made, Johnny Depp, in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
yeah, see, this is where he made his name, so he kind of stuck to it, and I can kind of understand that. We've said it before: if you're good at something, you keep doing it.
You go to the well as much as you can, but he
Yeah,
kind of lost.
I think this kind of character isn't as needed anymore.
It
Like you
had its
need,
time.
yeah, like it was great then, and like we still remember it fondly because it was still relatively new back then. But this sort of thing has been done to death by now.
Yeah.
So I think if this came out, it would do well. Like if a new Beetlejuice came out, it would do well because of the cult status that Beetlejuice has.
Yeah.
But
What has two thumbs and would go and see the new Beetlejuice movie? This guy.
yeah, but that's it for this week, and we'll be continuing on with our horror Halloween episodes for the rest of this month.
We ran out of mixed up names for this one.
Well, we could try and think of something, but in reality, the only reason we're doing it is we've decided to go with the horror films, but none of the big ones really. We've decided to kind of go with these kind of comedy horrors and PG
What would you
horrors to
say?
an
Yeah,
extent.
tween horrors or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
we've kind of gone for the kind of classic ones that don't fall into the kind of the big,
the mainstream.
yeah, the big ones, which we've left to the lads on the slab to cover, kind of. So
Thanks for that.
yeah, Greg made a request, so I gave it to him this time.
It was part of my transfer.
Yeah, but that's it for this week, and we'll see you again next week. Good luck.
All right.